I was talking to a friend, and I was basically like, the banality of evil is this idea that like just following orders.
Okay.
Right. I'm not well versed enough on the full thesis, the book, and all that stuff. But the general idea, my understanding is that when somebody like a Nazi Nazi guard says, "I'm just following orders," and they carry out these atrocities, they're doing these evil things, but it's banality. It's not like they're and they're like it's not Cobra where they're all like
I know,
Cobra.
I see what you mean.
It's just regular people who are like, I'll do whatever. It's like when you see a cop enforce an unconstitutional order, they don't care. They'll just do it, and then you see it across this country. It's evil acts carried out by people who aren't paying attention and don't care. And so I think about what's going on with. I was talking to a friend about these protesters and how they're kind of destabilizing things at home. They're attacking Trump. And I was thinking, like, I don't know if it's a lesser of two evils, but if Trump is taking action to pull us out of Afghanistan and he's targeting China, that's our best hope of ending this genocide.
And he's trying to end trafficking of humans.
Yeah.
So those are two huge things.
But these people
that he's open about.
But what are the complaints they have about him?
That he's racist.
He's corrupt. No, they say he's corrupt. He's enriching himself.
And they do say that he's racist too.
Sure.
That's a. But I mean, trust me. I've been in the middle of trying to explain myself to many people, and that's one of the. That is the number one thing that everybody comes to me. Well, how can you support such a racist?
I don't care.
So, I mean, I don't think he is.
I mean, the argument, right? When they say he's racist, I say I don't care. You know why? Even if Donald Trump was a racist, if he's trying to pull our troops back, I will take 4 years of a racist president if it means no more war in the Middle East.
I don't believe that he is racist at all.
I don't either. But I was thinking about like the banality of evil. These people who are out screaming and protesting and trying to put Biden in power, and Biden was part of the administration that bolstered the war front in the Middle East and North Africa.
And the police military state that we have here in America.
Absolutely.
Like that was Biden.
And Black Lives Matter protests started under Obama and Biden, and they want all that back.
Exactly.
I'm not going to pretend like Trump is good, but I'm sorry, like he's a saint.
Right.
But there's a few key things that I think are good, like ending the war, going after China for their atrocities.
Definitely.
Trafficking, like ending trafficking. And he did right by the economy, and those are really important things. So for all the criticisms you might have that he's racist, he's bigoted, he's a loudmouth, braggart, lascivious, I'm like, yeah, that's all true. But I think about the net positives, and I think about your choice right now. You have Joe Biden, who literally is on camera groping young girls and sniffing them. And then you complain about Trump. Okay, well, Joe Biden takes that cake, baby. And well, what about, Trump is war? It's like, actually, there's no new wars under Trump. And Joe Biden, he takes that cake, baby.
Yep.
And so you want to talk about money laundering and emoluments.
And racism. It's like,
oh, yeah, dude, 40 years of it.
You want to dig into Biden's past about being racist. Wow. I went down that rabbit hole. I put it this way. I said, I was talking to my friend. I was like, do you know what's going on right now in China? And they didn't know. Yep.
And so I sent the AP article where it says that China is force sterilizing people. Yep. I didn't even show the forced organ harvesting yet, but I ended up sending her the forced organ harvesting. And she was like, I didn't know about this. And I said, Joe Biden flew with his son to China, and his son got a private equity deal for like $1 billion. He got like a 10% stake.
1.5.
1.5. He got a 10% stake in some private equity firm or something like that. And I was like, you can talk about Trump flying over to these countries and doing a lot of things too, but right now, Trump is absolutely in conflict with China.
Absolutely.
And I was like, what about Afghanistan? Should we be over there? And it's funny to me how many of my liberal friends have flipped now and become neocons. I'm not even exaggerating.
That's crazy.
They're reading conservative military opinion about why we must be in the Middle East. And I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Right. It's pretty
insane.
And
that to me is very much so like the just following orders.
Yep, you're right.
Well, Trump is bad, so I think it's good. I was like, do you know how many civilians died in Afghanistan last year? Civilians.
I don't.
10,000.
10,000 civilians.
We're directly responsible for, I think, around 6 to 8% our soldiers' actions in the Middle East. I'm not saying our soldiers are intentionally doing that. I'm saying it's part
engagements, of it happened.
And
right?
it happens.
Okay.
And there's a lot of really crazy stories. Then you've got the coalition forces. The number actually goes up. Over the past 10 years, 100,000 civilian deaths. So when Trump is like, I'm going to put in a plan to remove our troops, I'm like, well, all right, okay.
Yeah.
And then I see all the establishment being like, no, I'm like, wait, what?
Wait.
When I talk to my friends and they say, well, actually, I go, wait, what?
Yeah, this same thing. Like, I actually had an issue with, the whole war machine, the whole us being the world police, Team America. It was like a funny movie that we were making fun of. Matt Stone, Trey Parker, they were making fun of us for doing exactly that. And it was a left position to be against the war, to be like, why are we world police? Why are we out policing the world? And here we go. Trump is bringing it back, and sure enough, everyone's like, well,
this is the confusing
maybe
thing.
Being the world police isn't so bad. And I'm just what?
What happened?
How is your mind work? If that's the case,
you think about when that thing I always bring up where Trump just blurted out, we're selling weapons. It's great for the economy.
Yeah.
And all the anti-war left was like, he just said it.
Right.
And so I was thinking about this because Glenn Greenwald is very much a progressive anti-war, also very anti-Trump, but he's also extremely critical of the establishment, called out all the Russiagate nonsense. And I'm thinking about this, like, if you are anti-war, if Glenn Greenwald wrote this article saying that the establishment, including Liz Cheney, are blocking him from pulling out of the Middle East. He wants to pull our troops out of Afghanistan and Germany, and they said no, and there were 8 Republicans and 3 Democrats. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm curious, Glenn, if you would consider supporting Trump because of this, because it will get the troops out of the Middle East. And Trump hasn't sent our troops, at least
anywhere.
He hasn't sent our troops anywhere, right? Like somebody, who was it who wrote, at least there's no new wars?
Yeah, I think that was, some military commander was like, oh, well, he hasn't started any wars.
I was very critical of the Tomahawk strike in Syria that Trump carried out, a couple of years ago. But my question now for these progressives is, with Trump actually trying to end this war and bring our troops back, is there an obligation among the left to actually support Trump? I asked this question because we were joking about this before. Like, if I were to write a punk rock song right now that was anti-war, the chorus would have to be something about voting for Trump.
That's true.
Like, could you imagine how insane that sounds?
Definitely.
Vote. You're pulling up his mask?
Yeah, check us out. Send this over to me, yeah? Can you post up my...
Let me see.
Okay, so he announced, was it yesterday or today? I think it was yesterday. He said, you know what? Let's wear masks. Let's do this. Let's I like this mask, and I don't mind. I think
it's actually a cool mask, the seal.
It's dope. Look at that presidential seal. Like, all right, if you're gonna wear a mask, I mean, it looks whatever. But now that he's announced it, how long do you think it's gonna be till they're like, oh man, he's for masks?
That's exactly what I said.
Do we cancel the mask thing now,
man.
or
they're gonna start saying,
what do we do?
A study's gonna come out saying that masks retain the virus.
Exactly.
And then when people put them on again, it increases the likelihood. And then they're going to talk about how some family members were mixing up their masks and spreading the infection.
Sounds like a real threat.
You want to know something really funny?
What?
I'm already seeing those kind of articles.
Are you kidding?
No way.
Yeah, because if you, like, I've seen an article going around about misproper, after you take the mask off, if it's wet, you got to clean it. You got to make sure you don't touch the outside of it. Never adjust it in public, because then you're like touching the outside of the mask. And it's like, why is this coming out right now? Why is this? why have I never seen this until right now? What is going on?
Wait. I did a video earlier on my main channel about the Democrats are supporting the riots.
Yeah.
And the original title I was going to use, I decided not to, because I'm more of a serious news personality, was ingenious move. Democrats support riots because Donald Trump opposes them. Like it was a play on the Babylon Bees. Ingenious move. Trump supports impeachment, forcing Democrats to oppose.
Right.
But I kid you not, I called it satire-esque. The Democrats right now are actually on the side of the violent riots because Trump wants them to stop.
I can't believe it. It's insane. And people, and they're not calling them riots though. They're stressing to everyone. I'm having these arguments with people that are like, how dare the feds like attack these protesters? I'm like, do you have any idea what's actually going on there? Because they're lighting mortars and throwing them at the cops. Like in Chicago, a mortar went off and actually went into a neck of one of the police officers.
In Seattle, that happened.
Oh, it was in Seattle. Yeah, you're right. No, I'm sorry. It was Seattle that happened.
Fragmentation went in the throat and neck area. He went to the hospital. I don't think he's in serious,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't critical, but it's like that's happening. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what does that have to do with the feds? Are you supporting that or not? Do you realize the riots are actually the First Amendment?
Do you realize that murder is skyrocketing?
Peaceful. Oh, I know. And I talk about that too. I'm like, Chicago, New York, like all these crazy
and you know what
places, people are getting murdered all the time now.
And you know what CNN is doing?
What are they doing?
They're like, right-wing media is skewing the reality of Portland.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Brian Stelter is like, of course there's criticism for the anarchists, but it's only a 12-block radius of violence.
Like, what?
Listen. Acting like right-wing media or those that are critical of Antifa are trying to make it seem like the entirety of Portland is a giant fire pit of explosions and like Mad Max and like Escape from New York and people are on like dragsters throwing. Come on, man.
That's a straw man.
No,
dude.
we know that it's the downtown area and they're taking one building.
Yep.
No one's saying.
I mean,
that.
look. I'll say this. I can't speak for any other conservative. I can't speak for conservative media. I can speak for the whatever you want to call it, politically homeless, disaffected liberal channel that I host, where I've specifically said there are 2 federal buildings under attack.
Right.
That's it. And the feds are protecting them.
Well, and I mean, that's not the only buildings that are under attack. They lit the police station on fire, so that's burning down now.
The bulk of the siege is like around one building.
Well, but specifically, the feds are protecting the federal buildings. That's what they're doing. And not only that, I'm seeing all these videos of the Portland police going out, and they're stopping people too. They're beating people.
The Portland police put out a statement last night saying we did not engage any of the rioters.
I've seen the videos.
No. Last night.
Oh, okay.
Because the Democrats have sided with the rioters, the Portland police didn't come out.
Wow.
They specifically said everything you saw was the feds. We have nothing to do with it. So now the Portland police are like, we're out because the Democrats want to support the riots because Trump opposes them. And then they go, the peaceful protesters that... earlier today, peaceful protesters smashed out a window and lobbed mortar-style fireworks at police, causing massive explosions and damage to a building, graffitiing everything, tearing down barricades peacefully. Peaceful.
It's crazy.
And so, look, man, every video I see from my friends, it's manipulations.
Yep.
And I had one friend saying, like, dude, I know people who are there. They're saying the cops are starting it. And I'm like... The cops are starting it.
My own friend said I'm in Portland, like, and that's not happening. And I'm like, oh, you're in Portland? Send me a video. If you're there, like, go out and show me, give me information.
Nope.
I haven't heard back
because they don't go downtown.
Right.
And then what CNN does is they're like, the right wing is pretending like all of Portland is on fire. I'm like, I don't know about that. I know that there's one small area there's constant riots going on.
Right.
The same thing happened in Ferguson, though, and the fault is the media in general.
Right.
It's just human beings.
You're right. The media.
So I remember, like, this is true for anywhere. I talk about this all the time. Like, when I was in Egypt during the revolution, you could literally go like 3 or 4 blocks away, and there was McDonald's. And you walk inside, and a 1 Coke and a cheeseburger, please, and they're like, here you go. Boom. Like that. And then you walk back, and you're in the revolution. And people are jumping up and down in Tahrir Square. There's a McDonald's right there. Wow. And there was a Hilton right there. I was at the Hilton. I was in the balcony. I'm like, at a Hilton, they have like steak upstairs. And they had a casino inside. It was actually kind of nice. And you look out the window and there's a revolution going on. When CNN says they're trying to make it seem like everything's crazy, no, you are by saying that. You're lying about what critics are saying.
Right.
They're claiming all of Portland is burning. I don't recall anyone putting out a video saying literally every city block is on fire. No, it was the federal courthouse has been besieged for 53 days.
Yep.
And probably right now, the funny thing is Trump supporters are sharing it's like popcorn night. It's like every night you grab the popcorn and you turn on TV to watch the riots and the live streams and sit back and just have a good time. To just watch
Seriously, that's a thing?
Yeah. They're like, it's almost time. It's almost time.
Well, they're all together as one.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.